This is our last video on review of Chapter 12, Dividing Polynomials. So again, you can just pause the video and write the question down. I'm going to start with number 1. There's really only 2 kinds of dividing that we talked about, and one of them is when you're dividing by a monomial or a single. There's just one term down here versus dividing by a binomial, where we need to do long division. So I'm just going to review both of those things, and that's going to be the end of the Chapter 12 reviews. All right, so in this first problem, first thing to notice is we have 2 polynomials here. The top one's a trinomial. It has 3 terms in it. The bottom one is a monomial, which is 1 term. And remember, I usually just say a single because it's shorter than saying monomial. And when you have that situation where the bottom is just a monomial, then it's very, very simple. You simply take each thing in the top, and you're going to divide it by that monomial on the bottom. So you're going to write, in this case, 45p to the 7th over 5p. And then you're going to keep whatever's here. So this is minus. We're just going to keep minus. And then you're going to have 30p to the 5th over 5p. And then you have a plus sign. So you'll put plus, and you'll do 10p squared over 5p. And then you will just simply go through and reduce and simplify each of these by using your exponent rules to simplify them, and your normal rules, like this is division. So 45 divided by 5 is 9. So you'll just put a 9, and then you have p to the 7th over p to the 1st. Remember, write that 1 in. If it makes it easier for you, write the 1 in. And so you're going to have subtraction. This was reviewed in another video, so I'm just going to do it. You'll have p to the 7 minus 1, and 7 minus 1 is 6. And then you'll have subtraction, because this is subtraction. 30 over 5, so 30 divided by 5 is 6. And then you have p, and again you're dividing, so again, if you need to, you put a 1 here. I'm just going to go ahead and put the 1 over there. And then you're just going to subtract, because we are dividing here. So p to the 5th divided by p to the 1st is p to the 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. And then this is a plus, so you're going to write plus. 10 divided by 5 is 2. P to the 2nd over p to the 1st, you're going to do p to the 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. And you can either write that 1 there or just don't write anything. And that's it. So dividing by a monomial, a single, is really easy. So let's go to this problem. So now we're dividing by a binomial. We have 2 terms. So we're going to have to do long division. So we reviewed that or we went over that in class. So this is a review of it. So you may have to rewind this and watch it again if you're still struggling with it, or remember there's videos that go with the textbook where you can sort of look that up. Just be cautious, because we don't have to have super hard ones to do for this beginning algebra class. So when you're doing dividing, it says 3x squared minus 5x minus 28 divided by x minus 4. So that means x minus 4 goes on the outside, and underneath is going to be your 3x squared minus 5x minus 28. And notice that I don't write really close together. I'm not going to write really tiny, because I don't want to make it harder on myself. Spread it out so it's really easy to see. And then the next thing I'm going to do, just to make life easier, is I'm going to again change all of those subtractions to add the opposite, so that when I'm doing all of my work here, I'm going to be really cautious with my signs. So now it's easier for me to see that those 3 things that I just changed are negative. Okay, so now long division is pretty simple. I'm going to take x and I'm going to divide it into 3x squared. So basically what you're doing is you're taking 3x squared and you're dividing it by x. Well, using what we've practiced, you're going to have 3, because 3 divided by 1, because there's a 1 here, is 3. This is x to the second divided by x to the first. So again, you're going to have x to the 2 minus 1, which is x. Another way to think about it is you just think to yourself, x times what will give me 3x squared? Well, I'll need the 3 and I'll need another x, because x times x is x squared. So that's another way to get to the 3x. Then I always write it above the term that it's alike. So it's like negative 5x. So I'm going to write the 3x here. And then just like normal division, you're going to take this number on top times your divisor. The divisor just happens to be a polynomial, so you have to distribute. So you're going to take 3x times x, which is going to be 3x squared. And then it's a polynomial, so you're going to put plus. Then you're going to take 3x times negative 4. That's going to be negative 12x. Now, just like in normal division, then we're going to want to subtract. But because this is a polynomial and we have more than one term here, we talked about in class that little saying that one of my classes made up that kind of works really well. We know that when we subtract, we're going to change the signs and add. So they made up a saying, and I've used it for years. Draw the line, change the signs. Because I really am subtracting, but I want to remember that I'm subtracting both things. And the definition of subtraction is adding the opposite. So we just take the opposite of each of these things. And then it's much easier because now our signs are all fixed. And now we just add them together. So I have 3x squared plus a negative 3x squared. And that's 0. And that's what it has to be, or you didn't pick the right thing. So you always want this first one to completely become a 0. Then I'm going to add these two together. So I have negative 5x plus positive 12x. So that's going to be 7x. Then just like normal division, I'm going to bring down my term that's up there, which is a plus negative 28. Then I'm going to do the process again. So I'm going to look how many times does x go into 7x, or really easy to think, what would you multiply x by that's going to give you 7x? Well, that would be 7. Because it's a polynomial, I have to put a plus sign and then the 7. Now I'm going to do just like normal long division. 7 is going to get multiplied by this whole binomial. So 7 times x is going to be 7x, and then it's a polynomial, so we put plus, and then you're going to have 7 times negative 4, which is negative 28. And then we're going to use that saying, we need to subtract, but we have to subtract both of them. So we're going to draw the line and change the signs. And now we're just going to add, and we get 7x plus a negative 7x, which is 0. And that had to work out for this one. This one happens to also become a 0. I have negative 28 plus 28. So I'm just going to write a 0 there. That means we had no remainder. This one worked out and came out even. And so the solution, the answer is this right here, 3x plus 7. So like if I were answering the question, the answer to this question is that division equals 3x plus 7. And this should be the hardest long division problem you should have to know how to do for this class. Okay, so it won't be very hard, very long, but make sure you do your homework and you practice. It's just the same process over and over. It's called the division algorithm because it's a step-by-step process that you just keep doing over and over and over again. Okay, so that's the last review for chapter 12.